Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be taking you on a tour through my art gallery. Okay, so first thing, here is my art gallery. This is my still life that I'm putting up. I'm still working on the composition, not sure if that's what I want. These are some canvases that I painted with acrylic paint. I will be doing some still life with these. I'll be doing oil paint on them. This is the only one with oil paint, and I'll explain why in a moment. You'll see. Here is my piano with some scales and an exercise book. You can see I have my ukulele case and a djembe, plus a little a metal agogo. That's a capoeira instrument. It's called a berimbau. This is also part of it. It's a little shaker. This is my headstand bench. I put my head through a hole in there and try to kick my feet up. Plus some, you can see like an exercise band. This is a sled, tib bar, and a foam roller. Cool window, gross skyline. You can see I have some colored pencils. There's my ukulele out of its shell. And this is my art slidey thingy. I don't know if it has a name, but I gave it a slidey namey thingy. This is like some plexiglass. This is the acrylic paint. It didn't come off very well from my tempered glass. And you can see I have like a bunch of colors. I have some paint thinner, brush cleaner. This is linseed oil. This is a scrapey thing I use to clean my canvas. And yeah, just like some art supplies, brushes. And this is my canvas. It's very adjustable. And this is very important. This is the light, a warm light bulb. I do have a light up here. This is very cool though, but I like this because I could bend the neck and I could move it around, so sometimes I need my light right on here and sometimes I need it on the paint when I'm mixing paint. And when I do my still life, I'm gonna need to put it over here. So that's what my studio looks like. Alright, so this is my first painting ever. I'll show you guys the process bit by bit. This is a subtractive glazed painting. So the first step was to paint the entire canvas brown, which is why I have a brown canvas in my room, because my first attempt I painted the whole thing brown. I got kind of tired. I couldn't take off the paint because the canvas is so thirsty that the way it was shown in the tutorial, I could not do that. I could not take off the paint at all, or it seemed like it. I couldn't figure out how to do it. I put it down for some reason and I thought, oh, maybe tomorrow I could do it. And then it dried and then it's like completely dry, so I can't take off any paint. Like, this is my second attempt. The process is I take a tool like this. This is a nib tool or a subtraction tool. Anyway, so one side is like this, one side is like that. And it's made out of like silicone kind of tip. It's really neat. The whole canvas, you make it brown, and then I took this and I carefully etched in like the basic shapes of the bird. This is my initial outline of my painting, and by the time I was done with the session, it looked something more like this. I took out some of the background. You know, I scrubbed out some of this and this, because obviously this is a lighter value. I was trying to go by value, but I didn't know it at that time. So wherever there was more or less color, if there's less color, if it should be close to white, then I took it out. So you could see I took out a lot of the background kind of brown. So then it was just kind of a lighter brown, or kind of like a dusty brown, whatever you want to call it. The next part was to do a glaze. I took transparent colors, just tried to match the colors. I did light to dark, and I was really surprised at how hard it was to mix colors. I was trying to use blue on blue, and that proved to be pretty challenging. The most surprising part was the eyes. The eyes are like not supposed to be this light purple. They're supposed to be like a marble glass looking, like a fuchsia. This is like a light lavender. I was confused about how to get the right color. And during this process, it was the first time that I understood the feeling of painting. Like, that maybe sounds kind of funny, but it was the first time that I got what it physically feels like to lay down paint, because it is a process you have to get used to. You have to understand how to work the brush and the paint. You could tell here I really struggled with the blues in mixing the blue background with the blue bird. I was so dissatisfied with it that I redid it. I came back to do another layer, and this is kind of what it turned into. And yeah, so I made it a little more green, and I lightened the background a little bit so it didn't look like one big blob. I got a little bit lost in kind of some of this fur. I didn't know how to get that feathered texture. My brush strokes looked very like first grade, like finger painting, so I wasn't super happy with this, but that's okay. This is the final outcome. I got used to changing the colors, laying colors on colors, getting this different texture. I thought this was good. I fixed some of the things like the feet. In the tail, I actually don't like. I didn't do a good job with that, but that's alright. I was actually pretty pleased with the way this turned out. I didn't really know when I was painting if it would turn out alright. For a lot of it, I was painting it upside down because this was helping me just try to focus on the colors and the shapes. So yeah, that's my first painting. Alright, here we have painting number 2. The first part of painting number 2 looked like this. The first thing I did was I created radiant colors by mixing white with blue, with purple, with orange, and green. Here I just kind of took the general color that came through on a landscape. Yeah, I just painted like the sky, the mountains, and kind of the foreground. It was really quick and fast, and it was kind of a fun process. Then, because my source picture had sort of a greenish hue to it, I then painted over all of my radiant colors with this. From here, I used this tool once again, this nib tool, to kind of like carve out the shapes. And I thought it looked really cool, actually. This was my favorite stage of this painting. I think it looks the best. You could tell kind of that there's a sky and it looks a little abstract. Maybe you could tell there's mountains, maybe you can't tell they're mountains, I don't know. And then I went to do the opaque layer, and I started here with the sky and the mountains, and I got really frustrated. I turned my painting upside down. The mountains, they look again like a first grader finger painting, and I got really frustrated because I couldn't figure out how to get the colors right that I wanted and how to get the refinement that I wanted. I actually put this painting down for 2 months, and then I came back to finish it. But before I get started, I want to shift my intention with this painting, just having an experiment, because I've put this off for 2 months. I really don't like how it's turning out, and it's really easy to beat myself up. So I'm trying to move to my left brain. I'm trying to think about the shapes and the colors, which is why I flipped it upside down. I don't want to think about these are mountains, this is a sky, this is some plants. You know, I don't want to think about that. Instead, I just want to have kind of like a meditation on the colors and the shapes. I don't want to make a photorealistic painting. What I'm actually doing is an exercise, an experiment in brush strokes and trying to create different textures. Need to get out of thinking like this is accurate or inaccurate, this is bad or good, or someone else could have done better. If it looks cool at the end, then it looks cool at the end, and if it doesn't, then I learned some things. Yeah, I'm gonna set this timer to only spend about 2 hours on this because I don't want to do more. If I'm doing more, then that probably means I'm overthinking things. Here we go. this is the finished product. I actually like it more today than I did when I finished it. Things I wish I would have changed is the sky, because this is the horizon line. This should have been the furthest point back, but I used warm colors, and warm colors come forward, so it looks just really out of place. The other thing is, I wish when I was subtracting that I would have subtracted a little bit more details in the different textures, because it was really hard to get the textures. I think now that I've sat with it, I do like it a bit more. I really like this area. Overall, when I first finished, I was really ashamed of it, but now I feel a bit better. I just wish I would have changed the skyline, and I think the mountains over here in this part, I could have changed the color and then maybe added in one top layer just to show the different like strata of the mountains. I actually am happy with the texture of this area and this area, and I'm pretty happy with most of it. Also, that I wish I would have changed is it looks like there's two suns. Dispersed this, not made it such a neat line. It was a really fun process. I enjoyed this one immensely. I think that's all I have to say about this one. Not bad for my second painting, you know? Alright, so this is my sketchbook. This is my first drawing. This, I really surprised myself because this is the first thing that I've drawn outside of a stick figure or just little doodles. This is the first time I've like intentionally sat down and tried to draw. The assignment was to draw you holding something. I actually drew it like this at first, and I started to get a little bit like maybe frustrated, kind of just like whatever, and then I went to bed. And then the next day I refined it. The challenging part for me on this was the kind of like this ball of your hand. You see you have kind of like a bump coming forward. I didn't know how to draw that. Yeah, but I was happy with the way this thumb turned out. Actually, I was really happy. I liked that I added on this little fingertip pointing out. The more time you put in, the more you could refine. As you refine, you don't realize how much you're doing. It took taking pictures to really see the differences, and to me they're very noticeable. So that's that one. This is my second drawing. It's a shoe, one of my shoes. And yeah, this is the first time I used the scale tool, like that big old X kind of tool, and on one side it'll be small and the other side it'll be kind of big. I used that to measure, take as many measurements, and I was really happy with this as well. This is not paying attention to value or shading, nothing. It's just the general outline of the shape, just getting used to that. Yeah, I'm happy with this one. And this one. This one is like maybe my favorite drawing. This is where we got into shading in the value scale. There's a couple exercises we did just trying to learn how to shade different shading techniques. Things like cross hatching or the little stippling. Yeah, this is playing with value, how light or dark something is. You could see I did the outlines first, and I added some value, and then I added more value and more. Funny things I did. This shape over here does not match this at all. I did try to kind of like match these, but you could tell these actually don't match very well, and I didn't really mimic those in the reflection down here. I kind of made these more blurry, so it kind of just blurs into the shadows. These are not meant to be like clean lines down here because this is the reflection, so the reflection is never going to be as crisp as up here. Yeah, I'm actually super happy with this. This has made me feel very confident in the drawing section of the art program. I'm learning a lot, like a lot. I'm telling you, I did not think I could draw anything outside of a stick person before this. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed my art tour. This is still the beginning of my art journey. So far, you've seen the first 2 weeks of my art program and the progress that I've made. I've already learned so much. I would be so happy if you guys kind of gave me your tips, if you shared your experiences. Please do leave any kind of comments, any kind of tips. I would appreciate. There's still things that they don't fully explain in the program, I got caught up on how to mix your paint, and I felt like I was just making these big blobby messes. I was twisting my paintbrush, like whirling it around. If you want to watch me grow and change and you want to do some art alongside me, we could give each other tricks and tips. Follow and subscribe. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Next time I will be drawing charcoal drawings. So the first one is gonna be a still life that I put together, and the second one will be a portrait. Stay tuned for those to see how they turn out. All right, so see you in the next video.